I chose to do my contribution project on Leah Hicks Manning. Leah Hicks Manning was a Native American who was very active in getting legislation passed, which protected Native American children during adoption and foster care through the Indian Child Welfare Act. Leah was born in 1917 on an Indian reservation in Nevada. She attended schools in Ohio and Oklahoma and later on received a scholarship for a women's college in New York, where she completed her undergraduate degree. Following graduation, she taught fourth grade at an American Indian school. Later on, she decided to go to the University of Chicago to complete her MSW, but put her education on hold to raise a family. During her professional career, she worked as a specialist at the Bureau of Indian Affairs and promoted better understanding of Indian family and culture. One of the things she was passionate about was the foster care and adoption of Indian children because she felt it was healthier for them to be raised on the reservation. Leah married Arthur Timothy Manning, who was the fifth out of 9 children. He was also an active member in the Indian reservations, where he and Leah dedicated themselves to various Native American causes. Unfortunately, he passed away in 2006. And Arthur raised 5 daughters, several nieces and nephews, and a number of foster children on their ranch. Their home was always open and filled with love for everyone who needed a meal, a listening ear, or a place to stay. Leah and Arthur supported and encouraged all of their children to pursue success in life, complete college, and be proud of their Native American heritage. Leah believed that if Native American children were taken from their home for adoption or foster care, they should be placed with a Native American family. She felt that it was in the child's best interest to remain within their own culture and to be proud of their heritage. To that extent, Leah's legacy was her tireless involvement within the political process which led to the federal passage of the Indian Child Welfare Act. The ICWA stands for the Indian Child Welfare Act, which is a federal law passed in 1978. ICWA was passed in response to an alarmingly high number of Indian children being removed from their homes, both by public and private agencies. The legislative intent of ICWA is that the child's tribe and family have an opportunity to be involved in decisions affecting services for the Indian child. They have the opportunity to petition for transfer of jurisdiction of the case to their own tribal court. Leah dedicated her life in helping and serving Native Americans in need. She served in many different organizations, which include the National American Indian Graduate Scholarship Board and the Executive Board of the National American Indian Women's Association and the National Congress of American Indians. Leah felt very passionate about Native American rights. She worked hard to create equality for them and was the person who created the first social welfare program for Native Americans in Nevada. This program provided a variety of services to the tribes, including alcohol and substance abuse prevention, public health, family counseling, and financial assistance. There are very telling statistics regarding how adoptions went with Native Americans before the Indian Child Welfare Act. 92% of the adopted American Indian children in California were placed with non-Indian families. Due to the alarmingly high number of children taken from Indian tribes for unwarranted reasons, the Indian Child Welfare Act ensures that American Indian children are placed with their families or others of their culture. If a child needs to be removed from their current living arrangements, agencies are required to keep the child within their culture in order to promote stability amongst the children in their tribes. There are a few services available to help Native Americans. For instance, the National Indian Child Welfare Association helps tribes and other service providers implement services that are culturally competent and community-based. Other organizations that support this law are AICRC Family Services, which provides support services for the Indian Child Welfare Act. This is a case of how the Indian Child Welfare Act can be applied. In review, the Supreme Court decided to send the case back to the South Carolina's court, ruling that the Indian Child Welfare Act did not apply in this case because of the father's estrangement from the child. They stated that the father had relinquished his rights before the child's birth and before the adoption agreement between the mother and adoptive couple had been struck. There was no violation of the ICWA. If the father did not relinquish his custody, the ICWA would have applied and the adoption would have been vacated. In conducting research for my topic, I found very little about Manning. I knew that was not going to be enough information. I then went to Salisbury Library, Berlin Library, and my hometown's library. I still found nothing useful, so I contacted the Indian Bureau of Affairs. A general lack of data presents significant barriers to understanding the totality of a case we may be assigned to. Without a solid basis of background, we as social workers may be unable to fully assess the extent of the intervention necessary or be able to fully assess the care an individual client we are working with may need.